Hi guys, welcome to another Rants video. Today I'm going to be discussing the DCAMU, which is one of the DC animated universes. It is made up of 16 animated movies, and it's literally just going into the Justice League and building up to this huge arc with Doomsday. Darkseid, that's who I'm thinking of. But they're just so good. It's like 2013 to 2016 or something like that. Wait, no, 2018. 2013 to 2018. 16 movies in the span of 5 years. It's so good. The animation style in itself is beautiful. It's great. And on top of that, this is like R-rated animated movies, essentially. A lot of them are R-rated. So these are gory animated movies. They're very dark. It's so good. There's obviously the overall Justice League ones. We have the origin of the Justice League, and then a few more with, the overall them fighting Darkseid or the battles building up to it. And then there's also the standalone movies. We have like 4 Batman movies in there, 1 Wonder Woman, 1 Aquaman, 2 Superman movies, a Suicide Squad movie, and then technically the initial one is a Flash movie, because it basically starts the universe with Flashpoint. So Flash goes back, saves his mom, comes back. The world is very, very different. And then he has to fix it because they're in a truly, like, a global war between not only humans, but like Atlanteans and Amazons and all of that fighting, and the world is just being ripped apart. And so then he has to get his speed back so that he can go back and fix it. But when he fixes it, obviously it's not the same because he broke the timeline and tried to glue it back together. There's still a crack. So then that starts us off and puts us into this universe, the DCAMU, and it's really good. The characters are awesome, and the animation is beautiful, and it does lead up to Darkseid so much better than season 3 of Young Justice. I will never not. I'm never gonna let that die. I can't. The lead up to Darkseid. Awful. Anyway, this does it justice because we initiate, it's that, and it's that one, and then it's Justice League War, which is basically the founding of the Justice League, which, in this universe at least, and then it straight up initiates Darkseid right out of the gate and establishes him as a threat. I cannot speak this morning. So it's basically his initial attack on Earth, and it's not him coming personally, it's him sending like parademons and such, and it's essentially him like testing the Earth's strength before he invades, and it's so good. And it's, it starts the Justice League, and it's them coming together to fight this bigger thing that they can't handle individually. And it's great. And then we get into Batman side of it with Son of Batman, and we get Damian Wayne, who I will say, what I know about his character, he was not my favorite before I started watching these movies, but they portray him so well in this. He's such an entitled little brat, but he's so great, and you get to, throughout this whole string of movies, you get to see his character development and come around, and him realizing, killing really isn't the better way, isn't the best way to handle this crime in Gotham and in the world, and caring about people and learning to work with the team when he gets put with the Teen Titans. And it's just, character development is amazing, and they do it very well with Damian. Oh crap, it's Throne of Atlantis is after Son of Batman, and that's obviously the Aquaman movie. So his introduction, it's very much the plot of the Aquaman live action Aquaman movie we got with Jason Momoa, but done better. Yeah, it's very good, and it's definitely not my favorite of the 16 movies. I'm bound to have ones that I don't like as much. There's 16 of them, but it was still a great movie. And then I think it's Batman versus no, it's Teen Titans versus Justice League, which Trigon's appearance. So we introduced Trigon, so then we introduced Raven as well, and it starts out with her, it's like, I am completely separate from my father, blah blah blah, kind of like how they do it in the Titans show, which I'm assuming this is, where some of the inspiration for it starts to, a lot of the stuff that happens in this animated universe makes me appreciate how they did things in the Titans show more, because initially when I watched the Titans show, I was like, why is there this age difference between like Raven and Beast Boy, and then Nightwing and Starfire, and blah blah blah, why is all this and this and this? But I see where they're coming from now. They just didn't do it as well as the DCAMU. Anyway. So yeah. Then we have, Trigons, they're called the Children of Trigon, so it's these other kids who are very much not half human. Anyway, Trigon possesses the Justice League in an attempt to free himself from, he's trapped in a different realm at this point, and when he basically forces his way through to Earth so he can torment Earth, and it's basically they're trying to stop the Justice League, and then when they can't necessarily stop him from coming through to their world, excuse me, then Raven manages to trap him inside the crystal in her head, which is it's a horrible way for her to have to live, with her father's prison stuck in her head. Respect and understanding for Raven and her isolation tendencies. And then is Batman vs. Robin, where we get the Court of Owls. I love it. The Court of Owls are great. And it made me so happy that Talon's suit and their super simplistic just white masks that are very minimalistic, but you can it's still an owl, you can tell that, and then the cloaks, you absolutely have no idea even what gender people are. I love it. It's super, this anonymity and the mystery. It's great, which made the costumes that they did for the Court of Owls in Gotham a little disappointing. I know I talked about that in my review of Gotham, but it was really disappointing. I wanted Talon to have his full owl getup with claws and the owl mask, and his suit looks so freaking cool, and we were robbed of that in Gotham. And the owl masks that the actual members wore were a little bit goofy and a lot less cool than the plain white minimalistic owl masks. They were awesome. Anyway, Court of Owls, I love it. I love the court vowels. It's so cool. And then we immediately go from one Batman movie into another one. We get Bad Blood. With, Damien's mom is the villain. And we get, Mech-Bat, which I'm pretty sure he just calls himself Batwing. Which is a little dumb. But anyway, we get more of the Bat family introduced. Which I love Nightwing in this series too. Nightwing's just great in all of his adaptations. He's awesome. I'm convinced he can't be done badly. Well, he can be. I'm sure he can be. He just hasn't really been done badly yet. The closest to a bad representation of Nightwing that we've gotten, I guess, is the worst so far, which still isn't bad, I guess, is Titans, just because, but that's more to do with writing and how they do the plot and stuff than the actual character themselves. I don't know. Anyway, after Bad Blood. Crap. I think it's Judas Contract. Teen Titans Judas Contract, which has Deathstroke show up. He shows up in Son of Batman too, but he shows up again with a bigger part in this one, and it's great. I love Deathstroke in all forms. He is amazing. I love him as a villain. He might be my favorite DC villain. But anyway, I love it when he shows up. I will say that his relationship with Tara in that movie is absolutely disgusting. It's so gross. In the Teen Titans show, we have him controlling her and manipulating her. That's great. She doesn't actually like him. She's just like, you can help me. I don't believe anyone else can. In Young Justice, it's similar, or actually it's more of a father-daughter thing where it's like, oh, you saved me, you helped me learn to fight, so I'm loyal to you. And yeah, that makes sense. In this one, Tara has a crush on him. It's a good 30-year age difference, and it is the most uncomfortable and gross thing I have had the misfortune of watching. The rest of the movie, the plot, the story, it's fine, but why would you do that? It's so gross. The writers of Judas Contract, why? Why would you? Why? It's so gross. There are so many other ways you could play their relationship. It does not have to be romantic. It's thankfully it's very minimal. The stuff that we actually get of her being all with him is very minimal, so that's good. But other nope, that's gross. So that one might be my least favorite movie of the 16 because of that. It's Anyway, moving on. After that, it's Suicide Squad Hell to Pay, which seems like a very disconnected movie. It's like, we don't even reference anything that's happening with the other movies. It is like very much standalone in this universe. It's still a fun movie. It's actually, oh man, what is it? What's his name? Tiger Man, he has claws. This martial arts thing. He's the original leader of the team. Comment if you know, because that's driving me nuts now. I don't remember his name. but we're because he's kind of of all of them, the more morally gray one, where he's like, I'm actually a good guy, but I do bad things for these good reasons, for family or whatever else. And then, yeah. Who's the main villain in that again? Oh, that's annoying. I can't even remember. It's been a hot minute since I watched Hell to Pay. But it was very good. And again, it's gory. R-rated animated movie. Gory. Justice League Dark might actually be before Hell to Pay. I think it is. But Justice League Dark, we get probably one of the greatest characters in that entire animated universe. We get John Constantine. He's so great. Like, as a person, he could be so hateable. Like, if you met that person in real life, you would probably hate them. But as a character, he is fantastic. He's so great. We love a British magician who couldn't give a crap about anything. Oh man. We go from Batman and, the heroes and them fighting actual, like, criminals and whatever else, to suddenly magic and fighting demons. Yeah. So we get John Constantine, we get Zatanna, who I don't like how skimpy her outfits are in this universe. Why do we have to do that with characters? I love her look in Injustice, but, like, why do we have to add cleavage? Just because it's an R-rated animated movie does not mean that you need to do that. Anyway, rant over. So it's John Constantine, Zatanna, okay, he doesn't technically join their team, but the guy who turns into the demon Etrigan, and Batman. Batman seems very out of place in this movie, but I honestly can't imagine anyone else dealing with this, because Batman's just so deadpan about it. He's just like, yep, okay, accept it, magic exists, demons are a thing, okay, accept it, go on this mission to save the world. Whereas I feel like some of the other members who don't know about magic would be freaking out the whole time. And those that do know about magic, it's a dark movie. So, I don't know how they deal with the crazy demon stuff. I don't know. It's just great because Batman's there, suddenly realizing demons and magic and all that crap are real and very much a threat, and just like deadpan, okay, let's do this. Needless to say, he's not the most useful character in this whole movie, which is fine. It still works in my opinion. But yes, he's very good. And it does have a twist villain in there. Who I did call it. I called it. Not right from the beginning, but I called it before they revealed it. Anyway, yes. City of Demons. John Constantine is fantastic. And then, oh wait, Death of Superman is in there too, before Hell to Pay. But yeah, Death of Superman, which brings us back to hinting at Darkseid and all of that fun stuff, because Doomsday! And basically, the ending of Batman vs. Superman, but again, done way, way, way better! It made me actually, yeah, things like the DCAMU and Young Justice and Superman and Lois, they make me actually care and like Superman. Whereas some of the OP stuff we get, it's like, what base knowledge of him and kind of nothing against Henry Cavill, but what we got in the DC cinematic universe, I didn't really like Superman. It was he just seemed very OP to me and very, very bland from what I had seen. And these things that I'm getting, these like the shows and the animated universe, and the more things that I'm getting into that involve him, I am learning to appreciate his character more. So yes, I do actually like Superman now. Do I still think he's a little OP? Oh yeah. Some of the things that is shown and canon that he can do is like, too much power for a single being. But that is kind of the point. As I get more into his character, I realize that is the point, is that he has this insane amount of power at his disposal. If he so chose, he could be like a literal god to humanity. But he chooses not to, and he chooses to be their champion instead of their ruler. And yes, it definitely makes me appreciate his character more. So yes, that Death of Superman, also a good movie, and does his all of that way freaking better than Batman vs. Superman. I didn't even know what was happening half the time in Batman vs. Superman, or how things were supposed to, like, yeah. Off topic though, yes, Death of Superman is good. And then I think it's Justice League Dark, and then Hell to Pay. And then Reign of the Supermen. We get Superboy. A very different version of Superboy than what we have in Young Justice, which I love the one in Young Justice, but I also love this one. He is such a cocky little douche. Like, man, there were a few moments where I'm just like, I just want to slap this kid. Ugh! It's an arrogant. Man. But he's great. We also get the Man of Steel. Literally, John Henry Irons in a war suit. It's great. But yes. And, well, who's... The villain is that one is Cyborg Superman. Yes, he is Cyborg Superman, which is another hint to Darkseid. We love all the little hints where basically he's just... Darkseid's not God. You didn't scare him away in Justice League War. He's just sending his minions after you, and you don't actually know necessarily that it's him until it's too late. Hee hee. Yes, that was a very interesting thing, and the concept of it being an astronaut who believed so solidly in Superman, which that was one thing. The dude at the beginning of the movie, they show how all these astronauts are killed, and then one of them comes back as Cyborg Superman. The dude is kind of an idiot. Like, they're about to blow up, get sucked into the vacuum of space, all of that jazz. They're about to die. And instead of doing what he can to save them, to save themselves, this dude, this pilot, basically sentences his wife and team to death by doing absolutely nothing. He just sits there and goes, no, Superman is gonna save us. Superman's gonna save us. I'm like, would you shut up and steer the ship? Do something. Just because Superman might be coming doesn't mean that he'll necessarily get there. right away. He is literally the hero of the entire world. You need to shut your mouth and do something productive. Try and save yourselves. Buy yourselves enough time for Superman to get there. He's such an idiot. And then he decided to blame Superman for not saving him and his wife. Like, you did this. You killed your wife. I'm sorry. It is your fault. I did not feel bad for this man. At all. Like, he was such an idiot. Such an idiot. Oh, man. Anyway. Reign of the Superman was great. Love that we got Superboy. And him going from an arrogant douche to, and then Superman at the end takes him under his wing. Just like, you know what? We're gonna go be with the Teen Titans. Learn how to be an actual human being. Yeah, you're half human. Go learn how to be a person and not this arrogant douche that you are. Unfortunately, we don't get to see a whole lot of him after that. He shows up in scenes, but he's very much background character, so we don't really get to see how his development carries on. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but still a great character. And then Wonder Woman Bloodlines, which is another one that I wasn't overly fond of. It was still a good movie, but I wasn't like, this is awesome. So I don't remember a great deal about it. But yeah, it was still a good movie. It was what I watched so many animated movies, DC animated movies. I had like a 2-month period where that's all I was watching, and not all of them were included in the DCAMU, so I'm also getting other movies mixed into this in my brain right now. But yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say about Wonder Woman Bloodlines. It was a good movie, but probably one of the weakest, just story-wise. Are there any more? I think I covered them all. The last one. The one that, like, left me shaken. Justice League Dark Apocalypse War. The grand finale to this anime did the DCAMU. Oh my gosh. It so much. You go through all these other movies and you think, oh, those are pretty dark. And then you reach Apocalypse War and it's like, what the heck? It's so corny. It's like horrible. It's horrible. But it's so great. It's this huge climax to this whole Darkseid arc. He finally comes to Earth himself with his whole planet, which is basically just a giant warship, apparently. And it's like his full-fledged invasion of the Earth. Like, you've got to be kidding me. First of all, within the first 10 minutes of the movie, the entire Justice League fails. They fail. Their first attempt at stopping him before he can attack is just complete failure, like utter massacre. And it's insane. We go from having the Justice League, the Teen Titans team, this huge array of heroes, and all of a sudden, in the span of a single day, within the first 10-15 minutes of the movie, over half of them are just gone. great. And then we have the few remaining people, like the remaining survivors, who are searching desperately for a way to stop Darkseid, who has taken their dead and taken the survivors that he captured and turning them into something else, or using them to demoralize humanity, or all of this crap. And it's awesome. So the stragglers are coming together. Obviously, it's Justice League Dark, so we get more John Constantine. And they are just putting together as many allies as they can, including Suicide Squad, whatever remains of the Suicide Squad, and a last-ditch effort to save the planet. It's great. Oh man, it's so awesome. And there's it gets to the point where we have a bunch of brainwashed members, brainwashed cybernetic whatever members of the Justice League who are fighting the stragglers that remain, and they're sucking the molten core out of the earth to be used for a power source or for a weapon or whatever. Batman brainwashed and turned into Darkseid's head strategist. Oh gosh. We get to watch so many people die in such gruesome ways because it's these monstrous hybrids of parademons and doomsday to create these horrifying creatures, and they're totally feral and they just rip people apart. It's horrible. It's so great. It's so great. I mean, it's like, dude, Darkseid becomes such a threat to the point that Lex Luthor has joined the Justice League in order to help them take him out. It's yeah, we got all the enemies coming together to fight this common evil. And it doesn't even have a happy ending. They're like, okay, we stopped Darkseid. We have Apocalypse, Darkseid, the Paradooms. They're all gone. We have lost half the population of the planet, but they're gone. And then we find out that it's not over yet. And there's gonna be a whole lot more death before we can figure out how to fix this new problem. And then they end the DCAMU in a very clever way that also makes me super, super mad. This starts with a flashpoint, which creates this universe where all of this happens. And then, in order to save everyone, to save the Earth, he has to create another flashpoint to completely wipe the slate clean and start over. And the movie ends a lot like in Rogue One, when Jin and Andor are sitting on the beach. And this explosion, this white explosion engulfs them. that is how this movie ends. They are all standing there watching Barry race out and just build up as much speed as he possibly can to break the timeline. And all of a sudden, basically just white shockwave engulfs everyone. The screen fades to white and the credits start rolling. We don't even get to see where this new universe starts. All we get is that it probably worked. We get the assumption that it worked, that he broke the timeline, and that the universe, basically the timeline restarted and we've got something better than what we have now, which is horrible. But we don't get to see any of that. They even have a little short that they made after the fact of John Constantine being trapped in the House of Mystery as penance for interfering with the timeline, essentially, and because he's the one that prompts Barry to do it, to go through with this. And we just have him trying to escape the House of Mystery, trying to get back to the timeline, instead of being trapped in eternity in his own house full of magics and being tormented by demons who are disguised as his closest friends. And it ends with him not getting that. I think he just straight up dies or something at the end of it. It's unclear kind of what happens to him, but he doesn't get to go back to this timeline that he has now created and see. It's like, oh, did this actually work? Did everyone end up better off than they were before Apocalypse War? And so we're just left with nothing. And I want to know. I want to just a snippet. Just a snippet to see, like, how different are things? What is this new universe that he created? Like, what the heck happens now? And we don't get that. It's like the most unsatisfying ending. But it's so great. It's an amazing ending, but it's so unsatisfying. The DCAMU is just, it's fantastic. I forgot to talk about Batman Hush, but that was another one where it just wasn't the best of the 4 Batman movies that we got. So we won't get into it. But this whole 16 movie universe is fantastic. And I wish it was longer, honestly. I wish we got more of, like, Superboy and these other characters that we introduced, and I wanted more, which was probably the point of this ending, to get you more into, like, more DC stuff. But I'm like, no, I want more of this universe. I want to see what happens to these characters. I want to see how things change. I want to know more about the development of these characters that you brought in that were so interesting, but it was so good. It was so good. I love it so much. Man, I think my favorite movies are a lot of the Batman ones. Like Son of Batman, Batman vs. Robin, awesome, and just Apocalypse Wars, insane. Justice League Dark was demons and magic. I'll leave it at that. Yeah, they're so great. And one of my favorite parts in the Flashpoint movie, this other universe that he creates that he's trying to get out of this whole time, the global world war, literal world war, we have a very different version of Batman's story. And I love it. Because it's literally, instead of his parents dying, Bruce gets killed, so his dad becomes Batman, and his mom goes nuts from the grief and becomes the Joker. I want more of this storyline because it's great. His dad shows up as Batman, but we don't get to see his mom as Joker, and I don't know if she dies or whatever in this global war that's happening, but I want to see more of that dynamic. I want that. I don't get it. Anyway, these were great movies. And I love them. I love this universe. It's so good. So if you haven't watched it, I feel pretty good about the lack of spoilers in this video. I've done pretty good. I tried to be more vague than usual. But if you have not watched the DCAMU and you are at all a fan of DC or of superheroes in general, I highly recommend it. It's so good. It's so good. From the animation to the characters and the storyline, it's great. But yeah, if there are other things that you want me to review or read or watch or whatever else, you can drop those recommendations in the comments, or if you have covers that you would like me to sing, or AMV ideas that you would like me to look into, I can totally do that. Just drop your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you all next time.